grace, and peace. Friends, we are united today by a shared sorrow. We've come together to give thanks for the life of Soong Chen and to remember the ways that he has touched our lives. I want you to know that today is a celebration. We are going to celebrate the life of Soong, who some of you know as Sam. We are going to celebrate with his beloved wife and his children and daughters-in-law and grandchildren and his cousin. We are going to celebrate with family and with treasured friends. As a parent has compassion for their child and comforts their child, so are we gathered today to receive compassion and to receive comfort. So we will start with a moment of silent prayer or meditation, whatever fits for you. So focusing on the mystery of death and focusing on the light of eternity. Let's take a moment of silence for prayer or meditation. From our reading, Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 15. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What gain have workers from their toil? I have seen the business that God has given everyone to be busy with. He's made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into their minds, yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know, and listen up, grandchildren, because I feel like these are the words of your grandpa, your Akan. There is nothing better for them than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. There is nothing better for them than to be happy and to enjoy themselves as long as they live. Does that sound like your grandpa? Moreover, it is God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in all their toil. I know that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done this so that all should stand in awe before him. That which is already has been, that which is to be already is. And God seeks out what has gone by. Thanks be to God. So now this is our time to share treasured memories of Soong Fang, Sam. So during this moment of remembrances, of sharing our memories and our stories, son Norman will start us off, and then the family invites all who wish to speak to come forward and share your memories. And then David and then James will finish up our time of remembrances. The good news, you don't have to say it all right now. There will be time at the reception at the restaurant where you can also go to a microphone and share memories. So no pressure.
Once upon a time, in a land far away, on an independent island called Taiwan, Formosa, there was an office building. In the front office, my mother, Dwi, worked in accounting. And it was the 1950s, so she had her hair in a bob. She wore a simple, elegant dress, sort of like a young Asian Jackie Kennedy on Isis. My father was an engineer at the same company. He wore a black leather flight jacket, aviator glasses, sort of had a bit of a swagger, and they kept him in the back office of his engineer. Sort of as a little young Tom Cruise. One day, Soong, my father, mustered up the courage to walk from the back office to the front office to ask my mother out on a date, and she said yes. And that's when the magic began. 5 years later in Taiwan, they had married. It was my father, my mother, my brother James, and myself in Taiwan. And they had a dream. They wanted to go to America. They wanted to move the family to America. In America, things were really happening. Superhighways, skyscrapers, the transistor, nuclear energy. My father's an engineer, he wanted to be a part of it. So my father came first to the Oklahoma State to study his master's in engineering. And when he was finished, my mother brought my brother and I from Taiwan to join him in Houston. Houston was great, idyllic. Weekends at Galveston Beach. My brother and I would catch tadpoles in the pond behind the garden apartments. My dad drove this big brown, metallic brown Buick, and life was good. But then he had a job offer up near New York, so we moved to Queens. We moved to a one-bedroom apartment on the 4th floor, and my dad converted the room off of the kitchen into a bedroom for my brother and I to sleep in a bunk bed. And then David was born, and David slept in a crib in my mother and father's bedroom. And then they decided they'd like to move into New Jersey, where each of us could have our own bedroom and a backyard to run and play in. So they moved us, they bought a house in New Jersey, East Windsor, a 4-bedroom house with a backyard and a stream in the back. And again, it was very idyllic. And then they wanted to move to West Windsor because they heard the school systems are really good there. And that's how we arrived at West Windsor. And then for the last 10 or 15 years, my wife and my family would visit my parents, and we'd always ask them, Mom, Dad, why don't you come live with us in Michigan or Kansas when we moved to Kansas? And my father would say, my life here is great. In the morning, I go to Dunkin' Donuts or the Bagel Hole or McDonald's, and I have breakfast with my friends. Then I go for a walk with Mom, and Then we go to the senior center and we play bridge. And then every 3 or 4 months we go on a cruise or a vacation to an exotic location. It was never about the location or the destination. It was always about the time eating and talking and doing activities with their friends. So I want to thank you all for contributing to his wonderful and fulfilling life. I want to thank you for coming today to celebrate his life. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. Any friends who would like to share memories, remembrances, any non-brother families?
Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Today we feel sad for Chen's passing away, especially his wife Judy and family members, even sadder. First, I would like to express my condolence and sympathy to the family. In 1964, Chen came to U.S. to study in Oklahoma University for 2 years. After graduation with master's degree, he went to Houston, Texas to work. In 1968, he and his family moved to New York City. He got a job in a company in which I already was working there. That was the first time we got acquainted. In 1972, we two families moved to New Jersey as neighbors. Up to now, we have been friends for 55 years. We have watched their 3 boys growing up, got married, and provide 7 grandchildren. I deeply believe that Sam Chen will have been very satisfied with his life. Although he has left us, we will think of him from time to time. We will remember the good times when we traveled together, the good times when we sang songs together, and the good times when we participate in other activities together. He always wears his smile on his face. His happy attitude to life will be our model to follow. When he was born, his family and the relatives were all very joyful to welcome him coming into this world. But he was crying at that moment. Today, he has departed from this world. We feel sad, unhappy. However, he has gone up to the happy paradise and had the eternity life there.
Other friends who would like to share memories?
Hannah asked me to share a little bit of my past experience with Sam. I got to know Sam when we moved to New Jersey over 40 years ago. And over the past 40 years, and some of my memory and some of my inspiration I will share with you. Sam and I joined a Taiwanese folk song choir, and it turns out that I was elected as the leader of the bass section, and Sam is a member of the bass section. And at that time, I think we had one practice section every month, I believe, and we just rotated in different house of the member. Sam is very serious about singing the bass. And since I grew up in the Presbyterian church family, and since a kid, I joined the youth choir and then later the choir. So singing bass to me becomes the nature. Sam try to sing bass very serious, and every time when we practice, and he would sit beside me and walk on the way like he studied structural engineering. So we have a good time over the years, and when we practice the Taiwanese folk song, and that's one of the impressions. And Sam also is he's a tennis player. I never play with him, but sometimes when after the choir practice, he will share some of the practice experience of playing the tennis. And at one time, he told me, I am almost 80 years old, but yesterday I was still playing tennis with a friend. At that time, I said, wow, Sam is physical, is very fit, and he even told me that he's running around the court and try to chase the ball, and so I realized Sam is very serious playing tennis. The other one is Sam is not to play bridge game, yeah, and I like to play bridge also, and he told me he played bridge in several different senior clubs around the West Windsor area and South Brunswick. And 10 years ago, we formed a living well club, and we gathered in New Brunswick Presbyterian Church, and we had bridge game every Wednesday morning. And later on, we moved to the Somerset Presbyterian Church, and Sam came to the club probably half a dozen times a year, not every Wednesday. But when he came, he played bridge with us. Yeah, so he loved to play bridge. Yeah, so and he's good. Yeah, so that's one of the. Sam is also. To me, when we have a concert for the Taiwanese church, for some choir, and his dressing always impressed me. I would say he's an impeccable dresser. Yeah. Every time he wears some tuxedo, I would take an extra look at him. And he's slim, yeah, so he's good looking, yeah, I would say. And I always, in my mind, when I think about Sam, I always think about the black tie and the tuxedo. And, Sam is always very active in the Taiwanese community. Yeah, he was the leader. He was in the leadership team of the waste water. Right? Yeah, and he always talking about what what they have been doing in wartime and all kind of program. And since I did probably more than an hour away from him, so from his house, so I never attend wartime much. Yeah. And then we have this Living Well Club from 10 years ago, and he come, and he always supports us and encourages us and say a lot of good words about what we're doing in the Living Well Club in Somerset Presbyterian Church. And anyway, Sam and I have a little bit similar there. He's the youngest of the three sons of his parents. I'm the youngest of the of 9 kids of the family, and so he doesn't like to. He's not very opinionated, just like me. And so we talk this just a very casual talk, and I like him very very much because he's just like the same age as my second oldest brother, and I'm young compared to him, and so he always look at me as a little brother, and so the conversation, most of he asks a question and answer, just like my brother asks a question, and over the year, I figure out that Sam is the big brother, and look at me like the little brother, so I miss him very much because over the past year I haven't seen him, and nobody told me exactly what happened, but in my mind occasionally I would think about Sam until that last Friday, three people called me almost at the same time at almost 10 o'clock at night, and finally I realized Sam left us already, and so Sam, you go first and cross the river, but your spirit, your kindness, your constant inspiration and encouragement, I always remember. And I thank you for the past 40 years of my friendship with you and your friendship with me. And I will miss you very much. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name's David, and I am the youngest and tallest of Dad's sons. What did I learn from Dad? When I think back, my mind overflows with many, many memories. I learned a lot of useful things. I learned that duct tape is essential for any home, auto, or bicycle motor. I don't care how amazing or expensive your toolbox is, if it doesn't have at least one roll of duct tape, something is not right. I learned that it's not about how many Big Macs you eat, but how you eat that one Big Mac. Sure, you can take the burger and you can devour it and move on to the next, but that's not how my dad did it. My dad, he took his time, layer by layer, and he enjoyed that Big Mac. And what about naps? I saw this quote or inspirational note, and it really reminded me of my dad. Nap like no one is listening. Nap like you've never been here. Nap like nobody is watching. My dad napped like it was nobody's business. It didn't matter whose house, whose sofa, what time of the day. He was going to have that nap in, in, in no matter what. But seriously, Dad taught me how to be a husband and a father. He always said, your family is number one. And that's the way he treated us. He's my mom's teammate, her MVP. My mom and dad are the perfect team to the very last moment. While growing up, I would watch them landscape tirelessly, raking leaves, pulling weeds. One would collect them, and the other would hold the bag open, and then they would switch. In my dad's den at home, he has a picture of his first home in Princeton Junction. Everyone always comments, wow, that's an amazing picture. How did they do that? It was taken back in the 70s or early 80s, so there were no drones. When I see that picture, I see my mom and dad pouring all their time and energy every weekend into that home. Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners were amazing. The two of them in the kitchen with a steady stream of the most delicious food landing before us. From afar, it might look chaotic, but we all knew what was coming and we all knew it would be amazing. After we were all fed and watching a movie or playing with our toys, Dad took a nap. We were taken care of, he had done his job. So Dad, enjoy your nap. We are taken care of. We'll take care of Mom, and I'll see you again. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm James, the older son. And again, to all the friends of my dad, thank you for being here to celebrate his life. Dad was a soft-spoken, kind, and principled person. He loved my mom, his family, and the life that surrounded him. My dad's wish was always to be able to take care of my mom. That's the reason that he fought so hard to stay with us. At the age of 88, he courageously elected to undergo chemotherapy for his bile duct cancer. Almost every day, he walked 1 or 2 miles at a local mall to try to stay fit. And we all miss those walks with my dad. Later, when he no longer could walk, he walked at home, and still at bedtime, he continued the journey, climbing 18 to 20 steps to the bedroom so he can be with my mom. In the final days, my dad rested peacefully in bed. We were able to be present at his bedside, to say goodbye, to comfort our dad in his transition. I can promise my dad that Norman, David, and I will kindly take great care of my mom.
After this service of celebration for the life of Soong Chen, all are invited by the family to take a short walk to the crematorium. If you prefer, you can go straight to the celebratory meal The Chen family invites you to join them for this reception beginning at 3:30 p.m. The reception, you'll find the information in your bulletin. The restaurant's about 3 miles south on Route 1. You'll find the address right here. Friends, we are mortal. Formed of the earth, and to earth we shall return. We are dust, and to dust we shall return. And yet, many of us know from our different faith traditions that our spirit lives on. We ask that Fang find rest with those who have gone before, where there is neither pain, nor sorrow, nor sighing, but only life everlasting. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord be kind and gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. So those who wish can join the family as we take our fellow servant on the next journey.
Good afternoon. For those who have just arrived, if you would like to come, take a few moments to pay your final respects to Mr. Chen and his family. Now is the time to do so. Again, on behalf of Ruby Memorial, myself, our owner and operator, Christine Kuoko, we thank you very much for coming here today. To the Chen family, thank you for placing your trust in us. In a few moments, we will begin to move towards cremation. If I could have the Chen family, immediate family, please approach so we can get Mr. Chen ready to go.